So Jake Tapper on election night on Tuesday suddenly realized what we've been saying all along and what many others have been saying, which is that Joe Biden is a weak candidate. So this was in the middle of Super Tuesday too. Watch the light bulb go off.
Completely frank, I'm getting real 2004 vibes tonight, which is Democrats want to defeat an incumbent Republican so badly, Democratic voters I mean, that they decide which one is electable, and they decide, okay, it's John Kerry, or in this case, it's Joe Biden. There's a huge coalescing around that person. They want to end the primary process as soon as possible, and then basically they coronate this person. Now, what did we learn in the last few weeks? Mark McKinnon, former George W. Bush advisor, told me that actually they feared Howard Dean more because Howard Dean, even though he was less predictable, there was a starker difference between Howard Dean and George W. Bush, and he was drawing much bigger crowds than John Kerry was able to. And Howard Dean, we had him on the Sunday show, and Howard Dean said, "Now you tell me." But the point is that when you have the Democratic electorate deciding that they are all a bunch of Rachel Maddows and Chris Hayes and the like, that they're just, progressive pundits and they're going to pick out who is the best one, maybe they don't necessarily always know what they're doing.
There you have it. And I'll go a step further. They definitely don't know what they're doing. Listen, Joe Biden is winning all these primaries specifically because the turnout from people age 65 and up is through the roof. Young people have turned out in higher numbers than they did in 2016, just so you understand. So it's not like Bernie is, it's not like he's struggling to an extreme degree that would indicate that there's weakness in the general. No. Young turnout is up, but 65 and older, that turnout is so high and it's just absolutely through the roof, and it's drowning out the increase in turnout among the young. And yes, they're literally telling the exit pollsters, oh no, I'm voting for Biden specifically because of electability, because I think he's the only one who could beat Trump, and I've been told that all along. So in other words, yes, the mainstream media propaganda from CNN, the network you just saw right there, and MSNBC, that's what is swaying this election. We're going to get to a quantitative study later on. It's been proven. The coverage of Bernie Sanders, even after his wins, is negative. The coverage of Biden is nonstop positive now. So people are convinced, oh, he's a big name. He was the VP. He's serious. He's a career politician. He's the safe bet. Well, this is exactly what happened with John Kerry, exactly to Jake Tapper's point. Finally, he's realizing the obvious. By the way, we don't have to go that far back for the analogy either. He's going to 2004. Try, I don't know, the last election, 2016. Hillary Clinton, career politician, well-known. She lost to Donald Trump. We just ran the experiment of a safe centrist up against Donald Trump. We know how that happens. We know what ends up happening, how that works. So, they're finally realizing it, man. So the short-term goal for Bernie and all of us has to be to convince everybody, no, he actually is more electable. He is more electable. But honestly, the long-term goal, which, it's annoys me to no end that we have to even talk about this and focus on this, but the long-term goal is to tell people, wait. No, you're allowed to vote. I give you permission to vote on who you think the best candidate is, who is in favor of the policies that would improve the most lives. To people like us, to us, that's a duh. Like, hey, who should you vote for? I don't know, the person with the best policies? That's the most obvious thing in the world to us. That's not how the older folks in general think. That's not how that demographic group largely thinks. They're just thinking in rank, sheer partisan terms right now, and I'm sure the nonstop Russiagate and Mueller stuff and impeachment stuff also led them down this path, where their worldview is so warped and deranged now that they don't think about policy almost at all. And by the way, for a lot of the older generation, they're more financially stable than the younger generation, which further explains why they have almost the luxury of just thinking about something like electability, as opposed to, I don't know, making sure you can pay your medical bills. So the long-term goal is we have to convince people, we have to tell people, Guys, it's okay to vote for who you think the best candidate is. In fact, that's the only thing that makes sense. The sheer tsunami of propaganda that it must have taken to get people to think that's not the criteria on which you vote is mind-numbing. It's stunning to think that there was that much propaganda that shifted people off that position, because that's the default position. Any reasonable person is going to go, I'm going to vote for who I think has the best policies. Duh. Obviously. I'm trying to improve my life. I'm trying to improve the country. I'm trying to, fight back against climate change and help fight back against poverty, fill in the blank, whatever it might be. But seriously, older voters are not thinking like that, generally speaking. If you're an older voter and you watch this show, you're definitely thinking like that, and we salute you. But if you're, in general, the older demographic by the numbers is going, electability, electability, electability. And by the way, again, even according to their own criteria, they've definitely miscalculated. Bernie is way more electable in a general election by far and away. But we honestly, and I need to start doing this as well on this show, I will, from now on, keep making the point, keep making the case that the only way to fix problems, the only way to be serious, is to vote for whoever has the best policies, all else be damned. The fact that we need to wage this campaign to change hearts and minds on that is very depressing. But I will give you, the good news is at least the younger generation already gets that. And the numbers for Bernie, as high as Biden's 65 plus numbers are, Bernie's percentage for the younger generation is higher. I mean, you go 30 and under, and Bernie's got over 80%. Honestly, the demographic Bernie's doing well with is 44 and under. He's got like 70%. So that means Gen Xers are with the millennials. Gen Xers are more with the millennials than with the boomers and the silent generation. So even, certain age group that's a little older than us are still, they see the whole picture. So the older voters really are, they're killing us, man. And we have to try to change their mind and convince them that, no, it's okay, vote based on who has the best policies. I mean, the fact that the older generation is overwhelmingly favoring a guy who's going to cut their Social Security because Trump, that tells you everything you need to know about how rational this is. So thank you, Jake Tapper, for realizing the obvious. We really, really appreciate it.